My son, Leo, was born with a rare respiratory condition that means his lungs don't work like yours or mine. He needs supplemental oxygen, constant monitoring, and a mobility device because getting winded can send him into cardiac arrest. That device isn't just a stroller. It's a $15,000 custom-engineered medical transport unit. It holds his oxygen tanks, his pulse ox monitor, his emergency meds, and it supports his spine. It is his lifeline. It allows him to leave the house, to see the sun, to be a child. I'm Andre Williams, a data architect, and I worked 80-hour weeks for 5 years to afford this house in Oakwood Preserve and the medical care Leo needs. We chose this neighborhood for the clean air, the quiet streets, and the proximity to the children's hospital. We were the only Black family on the block. We knew what that meant in this county, but we hoped our money and our quiet lifestyle would buy us peace. We were wrong. We bought a target on our backs. The shooter was Sheila. Sheila was the HOA president, a woman whose entire identity was wrapped up in the beige uniformity of her fiefdom. She watched us. From the day the moving truck pulled up, she was there, peeking through her blinds, taking notes. She didn't see a hard-working father and a sick child. She saw an invasion. She saw urban elements encroaching on her property values. It started with the usual microaggressions. She'd walk her dog past our house and stop, staring at our lawn, looking for a single blade of grass out of place. She sent letters about our trash cans being visible from the street on pickup day. She complained that my work truck, a pristine Ford F-150 Platinum, was commercial machinery and shouldn't be parked in the driveway. I ignored her. I had bigger battles to fight, mostly with insurance companies and doctors. But Sheila didn't like being ignored. She escalated. She started fining us for unapproved exterior modifications when I installed a wheelchair ramp. I had to get a lawyer to remind her that the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, trumps her bylaws. That humiliation festered in her. She hated me. She hated that I knew the law. And she hated that I was Black and unafraid of her. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. It was a beautiful afternoon, rare for late autumn. I had taken Leo for a walk around the block in his medical chair. We were coming back up the driveway when Leo started coughing. It was a bad cough, the wet, rattling kind that makes every parent of a sick child freeze. His oxygen levels dropped. The alarm on his chair started beeping. I didn't panic. Panicking kills, but I moved fast. I unlocked the front door, unbuckled him from the chair, and scooped him up in my arms to get him inside to his nebulizer machine, which is more powerful than the portable one. In my rush to save my son, I left the chair on the front porch. It was tucked near the door, but visible. I got Leo settled, got the nebulizer running, and watched his stats stabilize. It took about 20 minutes. When his breathing smoothed out, I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. I went to the front door to retrieve the chair. I opened the door. The porch was empty. My stomach dropped. That chair is heavy. It doesn't roll away. I looked at the driveway. Empty. I looked down the street. Nothing. Panic, cold and sharp, spiked in my chest. That chair wasn't just expensive, it was custom fitted. It would take 6 months to replace. Without it, Leo was housebound. I checked my Ring doorbell footage. What I saw made the blood boil in my veins. 10 minutes ago, Sheila's silver Lexus SUV pulled up to my curb. She got out, marching up my walkway with a scowl. She looked at the chair. She didn't look for a child. She didn't ring the doorbell to ask why it was there. She grabbed the handle. She struggled with the weight. It's built like a tank, but her rage gave her strength. She dragged it down the driveway, the rubber wheels screeching against the concrete. She wrestled it into the back of her open trunk, slamming the hatch on the expensive medical tubing. Then she drove off. She stole it. She stole my son's legs. I didn't call her. I didn't go to her house. I called 911. I need to report a grand larceny in progress, I told the dispatcher. My son's medical equipment was stolen from my porch. Value is $15,000. I have video evidence of the perpetrator. The police arrived in 10 minutes. Officer Miller, a young guy who looked serious, watched the video on my phone. Do you know this woman? He asked. That's the HOA president, I said. She lives 3 doors down. Miller's jaw tightened. Let's go have a chat. We walked down to Sheila's house. Her Lexus was in the driveway. The trunk was closed. Officer Miller banged on the door. Sheila answered, wearing a floral apron, looking the picture of suburban innocence. When she saw me, Her eyes narrowed into slits. "Officer," she said, ignoring me. "Is this about the nuisance property down the street? I was going to file a report about the trash left on the porch." "Ma'am," Officer Miller said, stepping forward. "We're investigating the theft of a specialized medical device. Mr. Williams here has video of you removing it from his property." Sheila scoffed, a laugh of pure entitlement. "Theft? Don't be absurd. I removed a piece of abandoned junk. It was an eyesore. It looked like some broken stroller, left out to rot. It violated Section 4, Paragraph C of the HOA bylaws regarding unapproved storage of personal property. I confiscated it for the good of the neighborhood. I was doing him a favor, really. People like him. They don't understand maintenance." "Confiscated." I stepped in, my voice trembling with rage I barely suppressed. "That junk is a Class 2 medical device. It keeps my son alive. It cost more than your car." Sheila rolled her eyes. "Oh, please. Always the drama. It was dirty and cluttered. I took it to the community dumpster behind the clubhouse. You can fish it out if you want it so bad." Although the compactor might have run by now. The world stopped. "The dumpster. The compactor. You put a $15,000 medical chair in a compactor?" Officer Miller asked, his voice dropping to a dangerous register. "It was trash," Sheila shrieked, sensing the shift in the atmosphere. "It was on his porch. It brought down property values. I have the right as president to abate nuisances." "Ma'am," Miller said, unclipping his handcuffs. "You do not have the right to enter private property and steal items. In this state, theft of property valued over $1,000 is grand larceny. Theft of medical equipment is an aggravating factor. And if that device is damaged, you're looking at criminal mischief in the first degree." Sheila's face went pale. "You're joking. You're taking his side? He's the problem here. You can't arrest me. I'm the president." "Turn around, ma'am," Miller commanded. He spun her around and clicked the cuffs on. "You have the right to remain silent." We drove to the clubhouse. The dumpster was there. Thank God, the compactor hadn't run, but she had thrown it in hard. The frame was bent. The oxygen mount was snapped. The electronics were smashed. It was destroyed. I stood there looking at the twisted metal that represented my son's freedom, and I felt a sorrow so deep it hurt. But then I looked at Sheila, sitting in the back of the police car, watching me through the window. She wasn't smug anymore. She was terrified. She realized that her bylaws didn't protect her from the penal code. She realized that her racism, disguised as community standards, had finally cost her everything. I pressed charges. Every single one. Grand larceny, criminal mischief, trespassing. The district attorney, a woman with a disabled nephew, took a personal interest in the case. She threw the book at Sheila. Sheila's defense was that she didn't know it was valuable. The judge didn't buy it. "Ignorance of the value of the property you steal is not a defense against theft," the judge ruled. "And your callous disregard for your neighbor's property, driven by clear bias, is reprehensible." Sheila took a plea deal to avoid 3 years in prison. She served 6 months in county jail, 3 years of probation, and has a felony record. She can never vote again. She can never hold a position of trust. And she certainly can't be HOA president. But the civil suit. That was where the real pain happened. I sued her for the cost of the chair, for emotional distress, and for civil rights violations. We settled for $150,000. She had to liquidate her 401k and sell her house to pay it. She moved out of Oakwood Preserve in a U-Haul, not a luxury mover. I watched her go from my porch, sitting in a new rocking chair. Leo has a new medical chair now, a better one, paid for by Sheila. The neighborhood is quiet. The new HOA president is a nice guy named Mike who asked me for advice on his lawn. Sometimes the trash takes itself out, but sometimes you have to call the police to help it along. Sheila thought she was cleaning up the neighborhood. She was right. She left. Sheila thought a $15,000 medical device was trash just because. It belonged to us, but the judge decided the only trash in the neighborhood was her. So, I have a question for you guys. Do you think 6 months in jail was enough for endangering a child and destroying life-saving equipment? Or should she have gotten the full 3 years? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. If you liked seeing this heartless bully get exactly what she deserved, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel.